Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you'll meet a man who helps business owners live their purpose. His journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I think all of us are searching for meaning in life, and for 25 years of my life, I found meaning in television news. And now I found a new purpose, leading a public relations firm and a podcast / television network for the last 15 years. I love the idea of giving people a chance to tell their own stories. My next guest is Jeff Holler. He helps people find their purpose through business. Jeff, thanks for coming on the show.
You're very welcome. It's a pleasure to be here. Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. Well, you were talking to me about your life before the show, that you really had a trajectory. You're climbing corporate America, you're full steam ahead, and then you started having kids. Mm-hmm. And doesn't that change all of us?
Yes, it does.
So what happened, Jeff?
Well, I had our second daughter, and my corporate life was such I was traveling 2 weeks at the time. When I was at home, I was in the office all weekend. My dad had passed away when I was 15, and I didn't have the choice whether or not to know him. But I was looking at my daughters and my second daughter being born, and I thought, am I going to be gone during their life? I mean, I have a choice. And I said, no, I don't want my daughters to grow up not knowing their dad. So my corporate career was working with privately held businesses. And so I loved privately held businesses. I loved business owners. I liked the way they thought they could plan 15, 20 years into the future. They didn't have to go quarter by quarter like a public CEO. Their community was important to them. Their employees were important to them. Their ministries were important to them. So I decided to start working with owners of privately held business, start my own business, start over again. I went from getting the opportunity to fly on corporate aviation occasionally in my 20s to sitting at kitchen tables, getting started in a new business. So it was quite humbling, but it was the right thing, and it's worked out really well.
Well, let's talk about the Capital Chart Room. What is the Capital Chart Room?
Capital Chart Room is a company that was created to work solely with owners of privately held companies. As I mentioned, we have a great love for, and Jeff, I really believe that privately held companies in the United States are the backbone of our economy. If you think about it, our gross domestic product in the United States is 65 to 75% consumption, people buying stuff. People buy stuff with the income they earn, right? Well, the income they earn comes from their jobs. 65% to 70% of the jobs created in America are from privately held businesses. Most people don't know that. So privately held businesses to us are the backbone of America. And the people that run and own these businesses are typically people that are humble, that care, that want to do the right thing and contribute, that give back in a big way. So we create a business to support them, and mainly as business owners, as they have more and more success, their life becomes a lot more complicated.
Right.
And what we wanted to do was restore the peace of mind they had before life became so complicated.
Sure.
And the way we do that is we bring together their most trusted advisors. We put together a master plan of everything that affects them from a personal planning perspective to a business planning perspective. And then we help identify the gaps with the trusted advisors. We facilitate the group, and we help then the business owners make the decisions that lead them to the insight that they desire. And one of those insights is the transfer not only of their assets and their business and their values, but of their overall legacy down the generations. And so we focus really hard on helping that also happen, and through family education, through family knowledge, through family meetings, to help that legacy transfer.
You told me a great story just before the show started about a manufacturing company you worked with.
Yes, family that I won't mention name because of confidentiality, but the patriarch started out in the McDonald's system as franchisees, ultimately went into manufacturing for the McDonald's system. He told me when I first met him, we've got ketchup flowing through our veins. And we started working with that family to do what I described. And the next generation became McDonald's operators. They now have third generation McDonald's operators. And we've been able to craft a plan that has transferred not only the business through the generations, down through the second, third, now we're going into the fourth generation, but we've also helped them transfer the values, so much so that we've helped them create a motto for the family, their mission, vision, and value statement. Their family motto is family first, and we've also had a professionally done movie of the family legacy put together. So
That's really cool.
It's really cool. It's really been a great success story.
Jeff, I know your faith is very important to you, and you wrote an amazing book a few years ago. We're going to put the book on the screen. Bigger Than Business, Real World Stories of Business Owners Living Their Purpose. Tell us why you wrote the book.
That's a great question. I never intended to write the book, Jeff. I was having dinner with a dear friend of mine, Alan Sears, who is the founder of the founding CEO of Alliance Defending Freedom. And that's the group in the United States that fights for sanctity of life, religious liberty, parental rights, and marriage and family. And I've done a lot of pro bono strategic advising with them over the years. And Alan and I were having dinner one night. We were talking about business and ministry. I really believe that God created all of us to be a ministry in some form or fashion, but he wired me to do exactly what I'm doing. And it is my platform to represent him in the marketplace. And so Alan and I were having this conversation. I have clients that I've learned from them. They've taught me that. And so we're having this conversation. He said, Jeff, you need to write a book about that. And I said, Alan, I am not writing a book. And he said, well, why not? And I said, well, I love to read, I love to write, but I'm very slow and deliberate, and I'm afraid it'll just take forever, and I'm just not writing a book. He said, well, Jeff, I really feel like the Holy Spirit is encouraging me to have you write this book. And I said, Alan, it must be indigestion because I am not writing a book. And I said just like that. And he said, well, would you pray about it? And he knew me well enough to know if I said I'd pray about it, I would. And so I did, and I was moved to write the book. I said, okay, God, it's your book, and I'll write it, but I'll be your vehicle, but it's yours. So take me where I need to go. And the interesting thing is it was an act of obedience. It wasn't a desire to write a book. It was an act of obedience. It was something that I kind of went kicking and screaming. But like most acts of obedience, the doors got opened through this book, and the places he's taken me and the relationships and the opportunities I could have never made those up. I could have never dreamed them for myself. I could have never imagined them. I could have never certainly achieved them on my own. So
Sure.
It's just been an incredible experience.
Outstanding.
It's seven stories on, 8 stories on 6 different continents. It's not a theological basis. It's what Alan suggested and what I went with was just business owners that are living their purpose and how and why they're doing it. It's not all about the theology of it. It's about more the practical aspect of how and why they do it. I wanted all 7 continents, but I couldn't find a business owner on Antarctica. So I've got 6 of the 7.
Maybe one day, a
Maybe one day.
penguin business or something like that. You also have a very popular podcast. We're going to put up the podcast page off of his website. And as we scroll down, I want you to talk about the kinds of themes and people that you invite on your show.
Yeah, business owners are all unique in their own way. And the common theme with the folks I interview is they all have unique abilities, and unique abilities, things they're excellent at and that they're passionate about. And they've all used these unique abilities in special ways in their business and also outside their business. And so the purpose of the podcast is to capture these special stories and to share them with our audience so that people can learn from them and be motivated and inspired by them and look at their own unique abilities and seek their own ways to fulfill their own purpose.
Okay, so as we wind this segment down, I want you to talk about your purpose. Do you feel like you found it?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I have, and I've found my purpose in basically not trying to control or not trying to decide what the end sight is, but just basically turning it over to God day by day. And we don't have enough time today, but I can take you through the story of how I got there. And it's a pretty deep story, but basically God said, hey, you need to give up control, just follow me. And I'm going to unfold your purpose day by day. And if you'll just be obedient, just follow me, just listen, I'm going to take you places that you would never go on your own. And he has. And so that purpose is unfolded. And he's been able to insert me in situations and have me be involved in relationships and situations that have just been incredible, just beyond anything I could have, like I said, ever drawn up. So I've found my purpose in following. I become a great leader by following first.
Wow, you've been an amazing guest, Jeff. I really enjoyed this time. We're going to end with your website, which is thecapitalchartroom.com. The great Jeff Holler. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeff. Really appreciate being here.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.